Hello and welcome to this quick video for a Patreon of mine, a Patreon called John. Now, some of you may recall that a few weeks ago we looked at a setup for this particular kind of model, not this one exactly, but some kind of rock crawler that was talking about having front and rear steering on something like an MT12. And that was a video I did for John back then that kind of explained how to do that. So you could set up kind of a normal, a crab and a kind of reverse mode so that the rear steering on something like a rock crawler could work either in opposition or with the front wheels or just turned off. However, John's had a separate question now. He's got his truck and started setting it up. And this is the way it tends to work. It's like peeling an onion. There's always another layer of something that you want to do. What I'd like to be able to do with his particular rock crawler is, in addition to those things, to be able to disable the front steering so that he can just steer using the rear wheels. Now, there are lots of different ways that you could do this. You can actually do it in a similar way in that original video where we're using drive modes. However, this is an opportunity for me to show how easy it is to use something called a special function, which you can use to override a particular channel. In this case, we're going to use a special function so that one of the momentary switches sets the front wheels to be basically not steerable. So John, this again is for you. Hopefully this answers it for you, and it's actually a relatively quick and easy thing to do, to basically just disable one of the channels using a switch. Now, one of the really powerful things, but also one of the scary things when you're starting out with things like EdgeTX, which is what is on this MT12 radio, is that there's at least one, usually two, often three or more ways of achieving the same thing. Some of them are great in very simple configurations and setups, but as you get more sophisticated, then you find that things like the drive modes that I looked at in the first video about this are actually incredibly handy. So we're back here now for John, looking at this steering setup. Quick reminder how this works. Again, I'll put a link to below if you want to go and have a look at this. The idea is that in normal mode, just the second channel is going to be the front steering. In crab mode, both of the front and rear channels move together, and in dual mode, the front and rear steering works in opposition, which means that when you're rock crawling, you can do that. Now, what John really wants is the ability to disable the front steering so that he could just go to rear steering only. So when, for example, it's in opposite, he can press a button and it stops the front wheels from turning. Now, again, there's a number of ways that this could happen. We could, for example, use the way we did it in the original setup, using things like drive modes. However, the way that I would do something as simple as this is really easy. So, John, watch this bit. This is how easy it is. So we're going to go into the model menu and we're going to whack across until we get to something called special functions. We're going to hit the enter key once and it's going to start flashing. This is where it's asking us what control we want to use. I'm going to use this momentary switch here that's under your thumb as you're steering. I'm just going to click it once and that's going to select it here in the screen. I'm going to click enter to accept that. I'm going to say that we're going to override, which is what we do, and we're going to override channel 2, which is the front steering channel in this particular setup, although you would pick the channel that the front steering is on your model. And then we can select the value. Again, 0 is going to be the middle channel position, which is straightforward. And we make sure we turn it on. Now we come out of this. So now what will happen when I press that little button, that thumb momentary switch, it's going to basically disable the front steering and just pop the wheels straight. So let's have a look at that. So what we're going to do, here we are in dual mode, where we're going in opposite directions. If I click that button, just trying to do it with around the camera, so it was a bit tricky. If I press that button, now it's just the rear bit that's steering. Again, if I have it in the other mode, it kind of works in crab mode. If I let go of that switch, bang, I get both of them together. If I press that momentary switch, I just get rear steering. So that, John, is how I would do it. This is the super simple way. Let's go back into special functions. I just set up a momentary switch to override your front steering servo. That way you only then have your rear steering servo working. Thank you for watching my video. Check out the playlist, and adding Pedantry 60 to your search terms will help you find my content. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. You can support the time I spend here answering questions and helping others by using the links in the video description.